You've been trying to increase your testosterone levels by doing all kinds of optimization tricks like avoiding plastics, getting sunlight, etc. But this will only cause minor increases that will never be able to give you high levels if you're lacking the most important part, lifestyle and competitiveness.
Wesh!
Having brothers before you can compete and give you all to be the best is literally the most efficient testosterone booster to an extent you wouldn't even think of. Being in a constant state of competition is the healthiest thing you can do as a man, and no amount of nofap or supplements will ever come close to that. Defending your status or trying to level up by taking on opponents stronger than yourself will have a drastic impact on your free testosterone levels, especially in the short term. And that's one of the reasons why you should always strive to compete with other men to be in that constant state of elevated testosterone. Even after the competition, your levels will remain higher, and that can last up to a day depending on the person. And the crazy thing is that it works for pretty much everything. As you see on this study made on chess players, they had tremendous increases which could seem unbelievable because they were just sitting down and playing chess, but any challenge to your status will do that to you. The other key element to having high testosterone is avoiding a sedentary lifestyle, going out and doing uncomfortable things with friends or just manly things with friends, like constantly setting challenges, pushing each other to always get better, or lifting with someone, which is also a form of competition. And I definitely recommend you start doing so if you haven't already. Once you start implementing those simple steps in your life, you will see a drastic change in your testosterone levels, and that of course doesn't mean that you should stop avoiding all of the testosterone killers, but it is to tell you that all the things you hear online are optimization and won't solve the problem to its core. Lifestyle is the base of everything, and to tell you how good competing is, it will literally give you a bigger boost in testosterone than seeing chicks or having sex. And I remember the part of my life that was the busiest, where I was in uni, I had a part-time job, I was doing wrestling 3 times a week and arm wrestling once every weekend, all that while trying to grow social media accounts and going to the gym. I didn't have a second to myself, but it is the period where I had the most energy and growth and was feeling the fucking best I had ever been. All this because I had all 3 things I just talked about. I was seeking status from my social medias, competing with other men at the wrestling and arm wrestling club, and having an extremely busy lifestyle, which resulted in me probably having the highest levels of testosterone in my life. The moment I stopped living that lifestyle, I feel like my motivation went to shit and got barely anything done because I lived much more comfortably after that period. So I think you and I can take this lesson and start getting less comfortable with where we are in our journeys, because it surely did kill a huge portion of my growth as I got complacent, and I don't want that happening to you. Another point that I want to touch on is to not have a toxic competitive mindset. Being competitive is excellent, but don't be that guy that takes it to heart and starts getting mad if you lose. This will ruin your friendships, and I know what I'm talking about because I was that guy. Like this time we used to fight in the pool of a friend, and as soon as he started to gain the advantage, I was getting pissed and got gradually more violent to the point that I was ready to hurt him to win. And I'm really not proud of this behavior, disgusted even, but it is not the way to go about it. You should be competing while only having in mind to improve yourself and help your friends do so as well. Or setting small challenges like those we used to do as kids. It is the way towards building a supportive brotherhood of men who only want to push each other to get better. On my part, I think I did a good work as my mindset completely shifted. I only care about growing now, to the point that when I was beginning arm wrestling, I decided to participate in some tournaments with my club. I knew I was gonna make a fool of myself on stage because of how little I knew about the sport, but I didn't mind. I only wanted to learn no matter the outcome, and I did in fact get destroyed. But avoiding comfort is what makes you grow, and no matter how generic that advice sounds, it is what you have to do to have healthy levels and become good at anything. Once again, all the periods in my life where I was at my lowest, either because of the death of someone, the problems I had to solve, or things I had to figure out about myself, were all turning points where I was the most productive in every aspect and built all of the momentum I'm benefiting from right now. The exact same thing happened to many men, and I'm certain you went through those periods as well. Now, how do we get into one of those stages without having some traumatic events happening to us? For this, we have to break down what we did during one of those growth periods that made them so productive and uncomfortable. To do so, I'll use the one where I was the hardest on myself as an example, and of course got the most growth out of it. So first, I said to myself I was gonna train every day, and I did for months on end without skipping a session. I was also doing combat sports, as I mentioned previously. The more you do, the better it gets. Remember, I was doing wrestling 3 times a week, sometimes 4, and arm wrestling once every weekend. Second, I was absolutely wasting no time scrolling on social medias, even in the toilets. And this has to do with my dopamine receptors. I wanted to preserve them, but if you have goals you want to work on, they should be on your mind 24/7, and I wouldn't allow a second of my day to go to waste. Not spending time scrolling will both benefit you for avoiding the sedentary lifestyle and also to have more time to work on your objectives, whatever they are. Then I cut off all alcohol consumption and stopped going out with friends if it wasn't either hard or meaningful, and by that I mean that if it was to hang out and drink or just do something fun, I wouldn't have accepted. But if it was to do some sort of physical challenge or risky thing like visiting an abandoned store with homeless guys in it, or a demolition site, I would have gladly accepted. I was fully seeking discomfort during that time, and that has benefited me and my testosterone levels a lot. Being insanely active and avoiding sitting down to play video games or waste time on social medias will do that to you. A bonus is to spend time with women and have sex if you can, but not everyone has access to that, so I'm just mentioning it quickly. I'm still gonna make full guides on on testosterone optimization, as it's far from being useless, but this video was to show you that your lifestyle choices make up for the most part of your T levels. If you want access to a community of brothers seeking to help each other and grow, the link is in the description.